corner, click on Settings, and then Accessibility. You may refer to the screenshot in the presentation. Reference a breakdown of instructions on how to access closed captioning on different browsers in the content section to your right, or reach out to one of our Career Circle employees in the tech support booth in the lobby in order to assist you. All right. With that being said, I know that I provided you my name, but let me introduce myself again as the host. My name is Brittany Knowles. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am an African American female with my hair slicked back in a side ponytail. I am wearing dark rimmed glasses, a little pink lipstick, as well as a mustard colored shirt. And I'm so excited to have the opportunity to be able to connect with you all on today. So, we have with us today these subject area experts, and I'm going to have them to introduce themselves as well. Ethan, can you let us know about you?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming. Glad to spend some time with you all today. My name is Ethan Parker. I'm the recruiting manager here at CareerCircle. I basically work to facilitate all of the recruiting interactions, from connecting members with employers to actually setting up coaching sessions for our members. Today, I am wearing glasses, a white sweater, and I have short brown hair. My pronouns are he, him, his. And I'll hand it over to my partner, Amber.
Thank you, Ethan. Hi, my name is Amber Khan. I'm a customer success manager here at CareerCircle, which basically means that I help you find a job. And so I'm a South Asian American cisgender woman who has brown hair, a pink colored shirt on, and I'm currently sitting in my bedroom with a sage color wall, and my pronouns are she, her.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ethan and Amber. So let's get right into the questions. I am sure the audience cannot wait to get some insight from you. All right. So, Ethan, first questions for you. Can you define what networking is and emphasize its importance in today's job market?
Yeah, absolutely. So networking is simply just the process of interacting with anyone, whether it's a social or professional context, to further develop a group of people that you can come to rely on for a various group of circumstances. So in a professional context, a lot of times that takes the shape of your former colleagues, current coworkers, managers, mentors. But a lot of folks forget about the social aspect of networking, which is just your peers, your friends, the people that you know and love and have come to forge relationships with over time. The importance of networking in today's job market primarily lies in your long-term ability to make career strides in a meaningful way. So let's say you are looking for a long-term career in a technology sector that you're not overly familiar with. In the event that you're working currently in an organization, you can take the time to speak with a leader in that space in your current organization and take the time to understand what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and establish your interest with it and kind of establish a mentor relationship with them. In the event that you have a peer or a friend that's currently working in that space, you can kind of ask them a little bit more about it and establish a similar kind of interaction with them. Overall, what you're measuring with networking is long-term consequence on your career versus a short-term impact. So as far as importance goes, it's really, really great to make those connections wherever you can. That way you have the best chance of success in whatever career path that you'd like to take in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ethan. And I wanted to give this quick little update to those of you that are viewing us. If you have a question, please make sure that you're putting it over in the discussion. We absolutely want to be able to hear from you. We want to get questions in real time. All right. And so please feel free. We would love to hear from you as well. I saw all of those hellos coming in from New Jersey, from Egypt, from the West Coast, from Jersey City, from Virginia. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. All right, now over to you, Amber. The next question is, what are the different types of professional relationships and how may your networking approach differ between those types of connections?
Yeah, so in order to network efficiently, you have to be able to identify whom in which you're networking with. And identifying that type of person, who they are to you personally, helps you take a more personable approach to the interaction. So we have operational, personal, and strategic. Operational is really just in the title. So who in your environment who's in the environment of which you're operating within. It involves your connections that are related to your day-to-day or immediate work or professional needs. So this isn't going to be a recruiter at your dream job that you're trying to land. It's going to be more like your coworker, a manager, a vendor, And you're going to approach these connections with a focus on collaboration, problem solving, and sharing resources. So your networking approach here should be more direct and task oriented, really to emphasize efficiency and mutual benefit. And then personal networking, which is fun, right? So, like the buddy that you go golfing with, the girl at Pilates, a friend, a family member, a neighbor. In this case, your focus is going to be on common interests, hobbies, personal connections. You're focusing on building rapport, showing genuine interest, and finding common ground. Strategic is the one that we're probably all here for, considering this is a platform to really help you get aligned with a job of your dreams. So, in your strategic network, you're connecting with individuals who help you achieve your long-term career goals or advancing you in your professional interests. And you're approaching strategic networking with a clear understanding of your objectives and target audience. So you're really trying to prioritize building meaningful relationships over quantity, investing time in nurturing connections that align with your career aspirations.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Amber. So, next question is for you, Ethan. Discuss and highlight the value of both online and offline networking. This includes LinkedIn, industry events, and conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with online networking. The value in online networking is generally more so in the space of it's more aspirational in context most of the time. So you're finding people who are either subject matter experts, or maybe you're hiring managers in the space that you'd like to work in, or just people that you find of general and positive influence that you want to associate yourself with long term. The value in that is really trying to find companies, people that that resonate with you and that will help to drive your professional career in a meaningful way. It can kind of help you to put more passive feelers out for your job market as well. So in the event, let's say you engage with a person's post that you respect on LinkedIn, and you continue to do that over time, they may continue to notice you. And especially if you're leaving valuable insights, it might take a lot more time, but you can actually have that person essentially say like, hey, this person looks really good. They seem very passionate, and they can kind of be an advocate for you passively in the background, especially if you've established a meaningful connection with them. A lot of the time, though, it is a little bit harder to forge a personal connection with a person via digital means. So that offline networking is where that really shines. You can really let your personality show. For offline networking events, think like career fairs, tech events. You might go to some kind of conference, even with your current organization. In those spaces, what you want to focus on is, again, really letting that personality show and kind of letting yourself organically speak to people and be your authentic self. In those circumstances, what we found is that people who show up and are authentically themselves resonate much better and create a personal connection over a longer span of time than people who are just like treating it with a transactional nature. And so when I say that transactional piece, I mostly mean they're talking to the person with a specific goal in mind. Like, I want to get something out of you, right? Whether it's like, I want to work at your company, I want to be a peer, or I want to be like a person who studies under you as a mentor, or I want you to do something for me, essentially. What we found that resonates well with people who have networked successfully is genuine curiosity about what the person does. So take the time to really ask more about like, what has your career path looked like in this field? How would you recommend people kind of take the time to navigate being an entry-level person? But in the event that you're not an entry-level person, ask more specific questions about their organization. Ask more specific questions about them as a person, right? Like, what kind of makes them tick in a professional capacity? And then even outside of that, you can just kind of connect with them on a personal level. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a professional thing. You can resonate over hobbies, as Amber mentioned previously. That kind of connection with people lasts a lot longer and will result in you leaving a better impression with the person over time. And that person, again, kind of being that passive advocate for you as you do make strides in your career.
Excellent, Ethan. Thank you so much. And so, Jess, I'm going to take a quick little pause before we get into networking strategies. I see a couple of really, really great questions that have come up in the chat. And so I see Hugo asked, how do I start a network when switching careers? I'm assuming, how do I start networking when switching careers is the question. Either of you, Ethan or Amber, what do you think?
I can hop in there. The easiest way and this is obviously like minimal effort, all that good stuff. Easiest way is digital, right? LinkedIn, finding mentors, finding professionals that work in the space that you are interested in working in, or finding hiring managers or organizations you're interested in working with. Again, in those circumstances, you really, really want to hone in on not treating it transactionally and coming from a place of genuine curiosity, maybe asking more questions. But from a in-person perspective, leverage your personal network. A lot of folks forget that they have friends and family that they can lean on from a professional context. So in the event that you have a friend or a family member who works in the sector that you're interested in, feel free to ask them questions about that directly. Or if you're working currently in an organization, you already have a vast network at your disposal, right? You have the opportunity to approach, let's say, a manager of another department or something along those lines and ask them a little bit more about their career path, what kind of got them to the point that they are, and state your interest in that long term. A lot of times what we've found is if you're networking within your organization, you have a little bit more of an easier transition path to landing in the career that you're in. So a lot of folks that we've worked with previously have those make those individual connections, right? Let's say that they're moving into tech support from customer service. They make that individual connection with the manager of IT services, as an example. And then from there, they kind of establish a mentorship with senior members of the department. And that interest in transitioning gets noticed over time. So what we found is those people will eventually land in an entry-level role in whatever place in the department makes the most sense at the time for the organization. So very, very effective. I would highly recommend leveraging your personal network first and foremost to the best of your ability, and then any professional network that you have in person before approaching that digital one. But the digital is always easiest. It's always accessible. You can get to it anytime.
Wow, that is just straight off the cuff. Talk about brilliance. I love the way that you answered that question. I have another question. How to approach professionals and talk about job opportunities, even recruiters, how to get the best out of this.
So when you're approaching people within your network, you want to make sure that you're coming with purpose. So, and sometimes we get really excited in the moment and want to just approach someone and introduce ourselves, but we're not quite sure if we are going to really say the right thing. And the best way to do that is preparedness. So, making sure that you're prepared for the environment in which you're going to go to. You're not going to go to a gas station convention and not know a single gas station chain, know a single fact about the industry, not know the trends that are happening within that industry. So I think the best way to approach professionals in a network that you might not really be that in tune with is to just do your research. And I know we have a couple of tips and tricks to help with that coming right up as well.
Absolutely. And I just, one more question that's popped up. After COVID, online networking appears to be not as effective based on this person's perception. This person is applying for jobs right now, but is not receiving a response. What can this person do to solve this?
So that's a great catch. It is true to some extent that online networking is a little bit blunted in its effectiveness as opposed to how it was in COVID. Everyone was online at that point, right? You had no choice but to be. But as a result of that, what has happened over time is employers, hiring managers, recruiters have been inundated with digital contacts to the point where they kind of sift through them a little bit more expeditiously now, or they take the time to really to move through what seems to be the most importance quickly. As far as standing out goes from a digital outreach perspective, I know you mentioned you have a lot of applications going out with not a lot of responses. First and foremost, we want to take the time to make sure that resume is applicant tracking system compliant. A lot of times, if it isn't, it just kind of gets binned before it even reaches a live person's desk. In the event that it is, there's a couple formatting things that can go a long way towards making your resume a little bit more appealing or easier to read. Again, easiness of reading is the best way to make a recruiter actually look at your resume, because they're able to ascertain what they want to know about your profile very quickly. And then as far as digital connections goes, as far as standing out, you really want to take the time to make sure that, again, you're approaching from a point of curiosity. hiring managers probably get dozens of emails, messages, whatever a day about, hi, I'm interested in this job. I'd love to take a little bit of time and tell you about why I could be a fit, right? They get plenty of those. The easiest way to stand out, as opposed to that volume of people that are saying that kind of stuff, is asking a question directly of the hiring manager. So when I say that, I mean, hi, I saw that you have this position posted. I am very interested in the role, but actually I saw that you've been working there for X amount of time. I'd love to know a little bit more about your career journey within the organization and know a little bit more about the culture and how you interact with them.
And if I could do just a quick follow up, because we're talking this language and I now understand what an applicant tracking system is. But before I came into this space, I had no idea what it was. So can you give us a little bit more insight into what an applicant tracking system is?
Absolutely. So an applicant tracking system is just a digital tool that a lot of employers use to essentially have a database of candidates that are actively applying for their positions. So in the event that you are applying to a position online, whether it be via LinkedIn, Indeed, or the website for the actual company itself, oftentimes it's ending up in some kind of virtual ATS or applicant tracking system. So the recruiters are using this essentially as a tool to quickly be able to move through applicants and measure whether or not you may be a fit for the role.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ethan and Amber. So we're going to get right back into the content, and we're going to start talking about networking strategies. The next question is for you, Amber. What tips do you have on how to approach new connections, initiate conversations, and follow up afterwards?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Brittany. I actually saw a comment from Ruby regarding being introverted and not really knowing how to introduce yourself. And I think this is kind of really the perfect way to hit the nail on the head for that. So, any introduction or anything that you're having, you're going to have the introduction, the during, and the after. So, you're going to start by introducing yourself with a friendly demeanor and genuine interest. Then you're going to ask open-ended questions and initiate conversations and show curiosity about their work or interests. Afterwards, you're going to follow up with a personalized message referencing your conversation to maintain a connection. Now, what does that look like? Hi, I'm Amber. I'm a customer success manager in the tech industry. I really loved your speech that you gave on utilizing data to build value. And then I could go on to proceed and ask them something like, hey, and this could be something that I'm genuinely interested. And I say something like, if you find yourself in a position where the data doesn't really serve you, how do you turn a negative into a positive? That's something that I would genuinely be curious about. That's something that they might have the knowledge about that is now kind of striking up that conversation. Once I leave with that information, that negative information that they've given me that I'm holding on to, and I've either made a LinkedIn connection or shoot them an email off the business card they gave me, you could follow up by saying something like, I loved how you were able to use storytelling as a way to paint a bigger picture for the client, and leave the email with a call to action if it seems appropriate. Like, I'd love to connect sometimes. I'd love to get a coffee if it is appropriate within that interaction. So being able to know how you're approaching it, having that genuine curiosity during that conversation and leaving with a solid follow-up is really the key there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Amber. Ethan, the next question is for you. How do you craft a compelling elevator speech that succinctly describes both your skills and goals?
Great question. So when crafting an elevator speech, those of you who have seen some of our other webinars might be familiar with a professional summary. Essentially, when you're thinking of your elevator speech, it is your professional summary, but verbalized. So take the time to think through who you are as a person, right? Introducing yourself is obviously the most important part of the context. The work that you've done up to this point, so establishing your professional history very early on, and then from there, establishing what you are looking for in your next role. So when you think of that through line, you want to take the time to essentially think of 2 or 3 sentences around each piece that resonates really well, and then take the time to write it out. We found that writing it out really helps to commit it to memory. And then from there, it's a lot easier to speak essentially at the drop of a hat to who you are, what you're doing, and what you would like to do. When you think through that through line and you're able to visualize those words, your articulation goes up significantly. We found this to be the case with dozens of candidates, and it really helps their confidence in an interview context. Now, aside from that, a lot of folks, they have a hard time with articulation even after the visualization. So the best advice that I can give you in that context is just continue to practice. You don't have to speak into a mirror or anything like that, but sometimes it can help to have a set of eyes to look into. And then from there, just take the time to say it. Just say it over and over again to the point where you could actually kind of recite it in your sleep. You don't want it to sound scripted, obviously, but the more comfortable you are with it, the easier it is to essentially, again, say it at the drop of a hat. Whenever you have the opportunity to network with somebody, it's easy to deliver that elevator speech or that quick pitch about yourself to essentially make that connection with the employer that much quicker.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Next question is for you, Amber. What strategies can you provide for overcoming nervousness in order to make authentic connections? And it's so funny, you were just referencing someone who had spoken about being an introvert. And so I think that this question is awesome because it's connecting right back to what you previously spoke on.
Absolutely. So sometimes we don't even realize why we're nervous. And it's really good to reflect on that. Is it because you don't think that you belong, or because you're worried you don't know what you're going to say? I think it's important for you to know that you're allowed to take up space. You are just as worthy as everybody else in the room, and that you are there to gain something for yourself, not to impress others. So once you work on, and these are the basics of practicing active listening, maintaining eye contact, taking deep breath, and staying present in the conversation. Once all that is out of the way, what is lacking? It's typically preparation. Are you preparing yourself to be successful? If you're going to a networking event with a recruiter who's in the finance industry, did I Google their name before I came to see what's relevant in the world of finance? Is there a merger or acquisition taking place that maybe I can bring up within the conversation and provide value, knowing that, okay, I'm showing little bits of information within that conversation that you are in the know, you're aware. And so if you, once you're able to bring all that in, preparing yourself is really the best way. And most of all, you want to approach it with curiosity, because the really cool thing about curiosity is that when you are curious, you don't have to pretend. So research the company, know the job description, practice common interview questions, the mock interviews, prepare questions, plan your journey, dress appropriately, visualize your success by thoroughly preparing for it. And you can alleviate your nerves and approach the opportunity with confidence and composure. And by the way, all those things that I mentioned, you can find at the end in our interview prep guide, which covers how to do all of that. But stay curious.
Amber, I just have to say this. That was a mic drop moment, okay? Sincerely, when you just said to take up space and to have that confidence, that absolutely resonated with me. Thank you so much, Amber, for that response. And I'm going to take a quick side journey because we have a few questions over in the chat. And let me just say, I want to reiterate how important it is. We absolutely want to hear from you. We recognize that there are maybe some questions that are in this presentation that resonate with you, but how much more do you have an opportunity to meet with and talk to people that actually do this work? These are the subject area experts in the space, and they're going to truly be able to provide you with so much meaningful information. And so please take advantage of this. Make sure that you're dropping those questions right over in the chat, all right? So question for either of you: how do we maintain and nurture professional relationships over time? That's an excellent question.
Absolutely. As far as maintenance, it's much like any friendship, right? You don't even necessarily have to think of networking as a chore or something that you want to do over time. You'll find that as you work and grow amongst your peers, there are people that will resonate with you. And so treat those connections more like friendships than professional contacts. It helps to check in on folks every once in a while. Great example is actually my role in CareerCircle, right? I have been in recruiting for about 6 years now, and I worked with a lot of great people over my career. The person who actually reached out to me at CareerCircle was my prior manager, who essentially reached out to me, said, "Hey, I miss talking to you, all that good stuff. Really would like to check in, grab lunch sometime, and learn a little bit more about what you're doing right now." So she sent me that message. I informed her of where I was. This was actually over COVID as well, so I'd gone back to school for computer science, all that good stuff. And then from there, We talked a little bit more about CareerCircle, established, she essentially gained that I was interested in it. And after that, I came on board with the team as a recruiter. After she left, we've continued to stay in touch. Shout out Stephanie. She's been a great mentor, great peer, but it's a great example of nurturing that connection over time. She initially met me years prior to that and has done a great job of maintaining that connection. Similarly, one of my best friends, Daniel, on the team, shout out Daniel, he was a military veteran, got out of the Air Force, and then I helped to place him when I was working as a recruiter. Over time, we've continued to establish personal strengths, professional strengths, and then I was able to, once I stepped into this role after Stephanie moved to her next position, I was able to bring Daniel on as a recruiter, and over time, he's proven to be a top producer. So again, when you treat those connections more like friendships than they are just professional obligations, you'll find that they grow over time organically. That's really the best advice that I can give, is take the time to approach them as a friendship and be authentic and attract people who you think you will resonate with in the long term.
Absolutely, 100%. We have a two-for question. So I'm going to ask you the first part of the question, and then I'm going to ask you the second part of the question. So question number one, when in the interview process is it advisable to connect with recruiters and interviewers on LinkedIn?
I think the best time to do that is at the end. It would be a little bit cringy to, in the middle of the conversation, be like, by the way, you have a LinkedIn? So I think it's when you're naturally having the end of the conversation, when you're wrapping it up, you want to make sure that you have your action items pre-listed in your mind. What is your goal from the actual meeting? And the goal is to maintain and grow that relationship beyond the meeting. So as you go on and you continue in the conversation, you want to make sure that you're saying something like, oh, I'd love in our next conversation for us to be able to discuss this, or in the future, perhaps I can show you this, leading you to appropriately be able to ask about, do you mind if we connect on LinkedIn? Or do you have an email that maybe I can shoot you over blank information? Maybe you reference something about golf or something in your conversation, a side joke that you made. And you say, by the way, I'd love to send you that. Do you mind giving me your email? I'd love to connect with you. So just being able to, I think emotional intelligence does play a good role in this as well, being able to see what do you think that this interview would comfortably be able to give to you? If it's an email, if it's a LinkedIn, being able to identify that and naturally ease into that in the conversation as you're starting to end off the conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amber. And then the second portion of the question is, should networking begin during or after the interviewing process?
I think that it really depends. If it's someone that you're meeting with prior and it makes sense for you to already have connected with them on LinkedIn, a strategy that I use is that when I know who I'm going to be meeting with, I send them a quick little LinkedIn invite and say, so happy to connect with you here. I'm looking forward to our meeting tomorrow. Just sending them a quick little message to begin with it. And then when they accept it at the beginning of our interview or at the beginning of our meeting, I tend to say something like, thank you so much for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I saw your post about blank and blank, and I thought that was really impactful. Do you have a department for this in your company? Do you have a personal interest in XYZ? So being able to use what you have in order to have a very comfortable talking piece to help take you further in that conversation.
100%. So we're going to now move over and transition over into leveraging LinkedIn. Ethan, the next question is for you. What strategies can you provide in leveraging your LinkedIn profile?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, it's much like any other social networking platform. The more complete your profile is, the more people will be apt to network with you. So take the time to really fill out all the fields of your LinkedIn profile. You can include any kind of professional headshots, picture of yourself, anything like that. Make sure you take the time to include a tagline summarizing your experience and maybe what you're looking for in your next role. And then really take the time to complete the other sections of your profile, your work experience, education, as well as any other key projects that you might have worked on. One key thing that a lot of LinkedIn members leverage and have found a lot of success with previously is making sure that you are up to date on any endorsements. So if you have any peers that you've worked with prior in a professional capacity that would be able to speak to your quality of work with XYZ tool or whatever skill set that you've leveraged previously, that endorsement can kind of help your profile stand out a little bit more amongst hiring managers or possibly even mentors in the event that you're there to network with them. Now, as far as strategies, once you've completed that profile, you can spend a lot of time doing, like a lot of folks call it, like prospecting, right? Where you're looking for hiring managers, you're looking for mentors, you're looking for organizations. It's very easy to kind of get caught up in the motions with that and just spend essentially all of your time looking at profiles. When it comes to reaching out to them, people will often shoot direct messages, but what we recommend over time, because again, you're measuring your networking results over a longer span of time rather than a shorter, like immediate impact. So for networking and long-term connections, what we recommend actually is following them, connecting with them. You can absolutely still shoot them a direct message, let them know like, hey, I saw whatever context, right? I saw that you are working with this organization, would love to network and learn a little bit more. Or I saw that you have some great posts. I really love your content. Would love to learn a little bit more from you sometime. You can absolutely still send them that direct message, but then continue to foster and maintain that connection externally of directly engaging with them. So as that person posts, as they create new content, you might just want to engage with it. Feel free to drop it a like, a share, leave your thoughts on it. Again, over time, what we found is that increases like passive subconscious visibility of that person to you and who you are. So when they post something, they might think, oh, so-and-so might comment on this, or so-and-so might, whenever you do comment on it, they say like, I really like this person. I love their energy. I would love to work with them. And they might continue to message with you and engage with you beyond that. So that curiosity piece, that continued engagement of, with the person beyond the scope of just messaging them like, hey, I would love to work with you. That really goes a long way towards maintaining a digital connection on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ethan. Next question is for you, Amber. How can our job seekers leverage existing relationships as well as identify influential members in their field?
Perfect. So, job seekers can leverage existing relationships by reaching out to mentors, former colleagues, or industry contacts for advice, referrals, or introductions. So, really being able to identify influential members within your field by researching industry events, professional associations, online communities where they're active, and engaging with them authentically by offering value, sharing insights, or expressing interest in their work. I think the best example of this that comes to mind is that I had a candidate that I was working with that felt like she wanted to do an entirely different job title in which she had to switch companies to do so. She was currently working in HR and she really wanted to work in what she described or seemed to describe as a learning and development, continue learning within the company, hosting webinars, hosting different types of workshops for internal employees and bringing value in that way. So with a quick Google search, I realized that her company actually had that department already in there. And then I identified individuals with titles that would be ideal contacts. So I sent her links to the candidates that I had identified. And we realized that two of those contacts she had a mutual connection with who happened to be her former lead. So then we whipped up a quick draft of communication for her former lead, explaining her interest and basically asking her to bridge an introduction between her and the learning and development team. And then she was able to work out the ability to shadow in that department and then eventually ease into it, which in the grand scheme of things ended up being a much greater situation than trying to do this from scratch by trying to convince a completely new company of her skill set, as opposed to a company where she had already built up that reputation. She already had a network and was able to leverage that network to really get to the next part of her career goals. So in the future, if she was to go and seek a future job, she already has that job title at her current place, whereas trying to leave her current role, current title, and trying to convince a completely new company that she has that skill set. So just making sure that you're using the network that you already have, identifying potential contacts that could help you elevate yourself and reach that goal, and utilizing those contacts efficiently. And definitely feel free to utilize the tools that you have. If you're not sure how to draft up communication, ask AI. Help me draft up communication because I am this and I'm trying to go into this. Utilize the resources that you have in order to get to the place that you want to be. And that includes non-human tools as well as individuals who can really help you get there.
I love that. Non-human tools. I love that. So we have an anonymous question, and it is, if I switch careers, is it okay to have a lot of connections from my old career on LinkedIn, or should I only have connections from my current field?
I think it's perfectly fine to have a lot of connections from your career field. It a lot of times, and I saw another question similar to this in the chat. A lot of times, um, folks express some hesitance around having too many connections on LinkedIn, or they fear that it makes it seem like you might be aggressively job searching or things like that. Oftentimes, recruiters, hiring managers, they're not really looking at that as a metric for whether or not you might be actively seeking opportunities at any given time. In the event that they are, they're doing a much deeper dig through your connections, and it's you probably don't want to work with that organization at that point. Um, but in terms of staying connected, maintaining your network over time, though that prior career experience, there's a lot of work that likely is translatable to whatever your new career may be, whether it's like soft skills with engaging with people, or it's any kind of technology that you might have been using that might also be used just in a different capacity in your new position. So definitely think you should continue to maintain your prior professional contacts.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ethan. So we're going to transition over into the live QA. Y'all, I've been talking about this throughout this entire conversation. We absolutely want to hear from you. So now is the time. Make sure that you are typing up the questions that you want to have for Ethan and Amber. And we're going to go ahead and get right on into that. All right. So first question, is it wise to get the premium for LinkedIn to help stand out?
I personally did find that it was helpful during my job search. I do recognize that it is quite the investment. Quick little tip is, if you're in it for a month or two and you want to leave, they'll actually give you half price to stay for an additional month longer. So if you do need a finesse, if you will. But if you do use LinkedIn Premium, you can send messages, identify hidden contacts and things like that. So if you know the saturated time in which you're going to be networking at a much heavier level, or trying to reach individuals that are not in your immediate network and you want to be able to connect with them more directly, I would then prioritize the timeline in which that you would need to utilize the premium services and do it accordingly. But if you're not, you don't have to have that because Google is free. And you can definitely search things. A lot of companies have about me pages. A lot of companies, if you type in something like, I don't know, let's just do, what do I have near me? Aquaphor. And you want to work in, let's say, sales and Aquaphor, you can always do something like sales, Aquaphor, account manager, something like that on Google, and be able to identify the contacts that you want, which a lot of times leads you to the LinkedIn anyway. So don't think that you have to use the finances in order to advance it. But if you want a little push, it's definitely worth it, but it's not a necessity.
Awesome sauce, Amber. Next question. Are you able to share any tips on avoiding scam connection requests on LinkedIn?
It's a great question. A lot of the times it kind of boils down to a lot of the things that you might see for like general online security best practices, right? Look carefully at misspellings. You can feel free to check out the person's profile. If something doesn't really make sense to you on their profile, it's pretty likely that it could be a scam. And then in the event that they are messaging you, there's a ton of grammatical errors, there's a ton of misspellings in the message that they send you. It's pretty likely that it's a scam in some way. Now that said, there is, you always err on the side of caution, right? There are some people that maybe are typing a message in a hurry or something along those lines. But I encourage you to take the time to look at the entire picture. So the message plus the person's profile. if there's multiple red flags across both of those, it's a good chance that it might be a scam. But again, a lot of the times you won't find that doesn't happen as often, I will say, when you're doing digital networking via LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm looking over into the chat now, and I see from Sakina, I would like to switch careers from development to HR. I have 2 HR degrees, but no experience, dedicated titles or roles in HR. What would you recommend as I'm not getting any interviews?
I think the best thing to do in this scenario, and I definitely have a background in switching careers and switching industries and having to do that. And a lot of that is surrounding yourself with the right information. What social medias do you already use that you could utilize in that manner? Your algorithms are literally built for you. So when I decided that I wanted to be a customer success manager, what did that look like? I started searching like customer success interview tips and tricks, things that you need to know in order to build long-term meaningful connections with clients. I started joining what's like LinkedIn groups that were dedicated to customer success managers. And then I started joining it within the tech industry because I specifically wanted to work in tech. So I started joining groups such as Women in Tech, things that related to me, and being able to surround yourself with information, knowing what the conversation is going on and building connections in those groups. It was very helpful. I was able to utilize the resources that I was finding on my For You page as a result of me curating it that way in order for me to find ways to really up. And you're lucky because at CareerCircle, we already have the tips and tricks built in here. So you could definitely utilize these. But being able to utilize what you have, putting your social medias in the right place, joining the right groups, and surrounding yourself with the information to be able to really join that natural progression of going in that direction. That way you have a solid basis and understanding for yourself.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that a little bit, it's very important to note that when you're utilizing networking to grow your career in a specific section or segment, whatever you're most interested in, you're measuring the results over a much longer span of time as opposed to just applying for positions and trying to get something. So when Amber says really surround yourself with those people, make sure that you are leaning towards that over the long span. It can mean, sometimes it can take folks, up to a year to secure that kind of transition over by the path of networking. So really don't beat yourself up too much if you're not getting the results that you want immediately. Think about it over the longer span of time. Measure your decisions on whether or not you are making meaningful gains towards that end goal, not necessarily just like, are you at the end goal?
Absolutely, Ethan and Amber. Thank you so much. I have a question from Elif. Do you have any suggestions for the moms who took a career break and then want to return back to work? How is it seen from the viewpoint of recruiters?
Great question. I think most often recruiter, especially these days where you have more and more moms returning to the workforce, and I think that applies unilaterally to all parents who have taken a career break, right? There's just times that you need to spend with your children, and I think that's a lot less stigmatized in the modern American workforce. Now, that being said, from a recruiting perspective, what I'm looking for most of the time when we look at resumes is whether or not the candidate is trying to hide it, right? So in the event that you don't have it on your resume, don't have it listed, definitely take the time to list it, and then you can kind of list some of the key things that you did to keep your professional tool sets sharp while you were out of the workforce. But moreover, from a networking perspective, it's completely okay to share your story in that elevator pitch. So you can say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I had prior experience with this. In my prior experience, I did XYZ kind of tasks. Upon having my children, I decided to take a career break to be a parent to them and take the time to really make sure that they had all the tools that they need to be able to go to school, what have you, independently and be on their own. Now I'm ready to get back in the workforce. I've done some of this stuff in the interim to make sure that I had the right skill sets to return to the workforce, and I'm very eager to meet with you, network with you, and learn a little bit more about your position.
Yeah, and
Thank
just
you.
to piggyback off of that as well, just remember that a lot of times you might have done something to sharpen your skills, as Ethan mentioned. You can always put in that career break that you obtained XYZ certificates, that you were studying for certain certificates, doing whatever you did to upskill yourself during that time. And I would equate that to similarly as going to school. So like, hey, I wasn't able to have a job that I can list on here because I was in school. And it's the same thing for when you're obtaining certificates. So feel free to utilize that tool as well.
Absolutely. And if I could do a shameless plug, my understanding is that in the coming quarter, we'll be doing some sort of webinar surrounding that topic. We actually have 2 individuals on our team that fit into that category that took some time off for family reasons and that sort of thing. So we are actually going to have a full conversation surrounding that topic. So be looking on our website for more information to come about that. All right. I have a question from Catherine. Is it worth reaching out to hiring managers who considered you for previous different roles to update them on your new career goals? And if so, what is the best strategy for that?
Oh, okay. So I think that's great. I've worked with candidates approximately 8 months prior where we tried, where I perhaps helped them apply for a role or speak on their behalf. However, at the time, they had maybe only had 2 months of experience in the field. And then now they're reaching out to me 8 months later where they have a year experience. I have a whole new pool of jobs that are available. And so I think it's important to maintain those relationships. And that really goes hand in hand with networking, is maintaining those relationships. Sometimes I'll receive emails being like, hey, I had a conversation with you X months back, and in this time I've done this. Here's my updated resume and my updated summary about myself. Please let me know if you have anything available or if you can share this within your network. And that can be a really good way to maintain your role in that industry.
Absolutely. Let me just take a pause for the cause. I love that we have some individuals on this call that are already taking you all's advice. Some of them have already dropped their LinkedIns into the chat and are starting the process of networking with like-minded individuals that are all trying to succeed in within the career space. And so that's so awesome. I saw Makita. I saw someone named Jess. I saw a couple of people that provide their LinkedIn. So that is so awesome that you are already starting to incorporate some of these tips and tricks already. So have another question from Kanika. Can you share how one should approach people on LinkedIn for referrals? Should I be direct or first build a connection and then ask for referral?
I love the fact that you ask the question within the question, right? Should I be direct or should I try to build a relationship first? You're very much in the right line of thinking. So you definitely want to try to take the time to build a relationship with the person before just straight up asking them for referrals. There's no harm in stating whatever you're targeting at that time and saying, I'm really looking for folks who can kind of help to align me. But in that same vein, you have to think kind of about what's in it for the person who might be like giving you those referrals. So when you think about that, kind of take the time to bundle another question in there, ask them a little bit more about themselves, ask them a little bit more about the work that they're doing currently, their organization, or even just possibly hobbies that they have, something that you saw that they posted that you are actively interested in as well. Don't approach the mindset of I need XYZ thing from you. Take the time to really understand the person behind the computer, because at the end of the day, that's one of the easiest things to forget about digital networking, is that there's a person behind the screen, right? Somebody is reading that message, reacting to it, and taking the time to respond. So when you think of effectively using that other person's time, make sure that there might be some meaningful investment for them as well.
Absolutely. So I see another question. How do I get feedback on my application if I'm not selected for the role?
I think just sending a quick email and saying if you've received and built a connection, especially if you have had an interview and you have an email address, I think a great way to do that is just shooting a quick email being like, hey, thank you so much for giving me the feedback and getting back to me. I really appreciate the time that you took to do that. I was just curious, is there anything about my interview or my resume that stood out to you that perhaps made you feel like I wouldn't be a fit for this role? And if so, I would love feedback, as I really I would love to apply for this job in the future and would love to do the work that needs to be done in order to prepare for that moving forward. And being able to send a quick email like that and asking those who you directly just had communication with is a great way to go about that. But we don't always have direct communication with somebody who can give you that information. Perhaps you don't have an email and you got an automated response. An amazing way to go about that would be to reach out to either friends that are in the industry or just a recruiter friend in general and say, hey, here's my resume. This is how the interview went. Is there anything that you think that I could do differently moving forward that could help me be put in a position where I could make it further in the interview process or even land the job?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amber. I have another question. What resources do you use to find new networking events and career fairs? And before anyone goes into responding to that question, let me do this harmless plug of you all are already in the space that you need to be in, because CareerCircle has tons of events and networking opportunities for you. And so first and foremost, you already have a major resource in CareerCircle. And so, Amber, Ethan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing, Brittany. CareerCircle is an excellent resource. The events page will inform you of any upcoming events, whether it be webinars like this or virtual career fairs. Additionally, as far as seeking out opportunities to network with folks in a physical space, oftentimes you want to leverage social networks to encounter those. So when we think social networks in a professional capacity, we're thinking primarily LinkedIn, right? But there's also, think Facebook, Twitter, all the social networks that are actively posting things. They also want to get the word out on those platforms too, right? Facebook's a great resource for finding local events that might be a great networking event to connect with others for your chosen discipline. So highly recommend. Put together just a couple quick searches on the various social networking platforms, and you'll likely find something pretty quickly as far as a physical networking event.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Next question. If I reach out to someone online that I'm trying to create a connection with and don't hear back, how soon should I reach back out and what should I say?
I think what you need to focus on is the strategy here. So when you're thinking about who it is that you're reaching out to and you haven't received a response back, are you reaching out to the right person? For example, if you want to get a job at Google, you are not going to email the CEO of Google to get a job, right? You would want to be as tailored as possible in your strategic approach. You would want to make sure that you're reaching out to a recruiter in the specific department that you're working in, and perhaps see if they have programs that can lead you into that. However, if you're trying to get a job at a company where the company size is 2 to 10 people, then you would perhaps email or message the CEO at the company who is very hands-on. So making sure that sometimes it's not about reaching out repeatedly. Sometimes it's making sure you have the right contact. Make sure you're doing the right research to be able to make sure that you're reaching out to the right person. And even if you think that is the right person, is there somebody in that same department where maybe you could gauge a response? Is there somebody that you know within that company that can help with that introduction as well? So just make sure that when you're working with a smaller company, that you're going higher up in your communication of who you would like to reach out to. But if it's a bigger company, you want to be tailored and more specific about whom you're reaching out to.
Absolutely. 100%. Next question. Within the data analysis field, do you have any unique tips that can make my portfolio stand out while digital networking?
It's a great question. From a portfolio perspective, it's very important to have completed projects listed within your portfolio. It's also very important to list end to end the purpose of the project. So a lot of times we have folks that will just put those in their portfolio with no context, right? And employers looking at this, they're trying to essentially like reverse engineer the logic behind why you created whatever dashboard, right? As an example. And rather than doing that, the second that an employer has to think like 2 steps deep into why you might do something, it's likely that you've lost engagement with them to some extent, right? In the event that you have just a quick descriptor of, I'm doing this project for XYZ purpose, is like state the mission statement for the project, that makes it very easy for the employer to establish context, and then see what you did as an action result. So that kind of gives them a much better insight as to how you will respond to a certain project within their organization. So definitely have those projects in your portfolio with the context listed, and then additionally continue to iterate on that. I know a lot of folks, as part of their upskilling curriculum, they have like a capstone project that they have to work on. That's really, really helpful, but continue to do work beyond the scope of your capstone project. So take the time to create dashboards, visualizations, that kind of stuff, as just like passion projects, because it shows that you are continuing to hone your skills in that space. A lot of times, if the employer logs into your LinkedIn, sees your profile, and then sees that you only have 1 or 2 projects, it's not enough experience for them to really get a gauge on what your skills might be. So take the time to continually iterate on those and work on different projects as well, and showcase those in your portfolio.
All right, everyone, we are at the 5-minute mark. I cannot believe it. It seems like we were just on this call for maybe the 10 minutes or so. Like the time has gone by so fast, gotten so much information from you. At this point, I want to choose 2 more questions, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So a minute and a half for either of the questions. Question number 1, any tips for someone trying to pivot from a small family business into tech without much of a professional network to leverage?
Yeah, I definitely can help with this question here. When you work at a family business, you don't realize how many hats you're actually like wearing. So you were handling money, you might have been doing an administrative task, you might have been the on-site IT help support. You could have been so many different things. And so when you're selling yourself to the next job, you really want to make sure that the emphasis that you make on the role that you played at your family business was part of that. So, for example, if I work at a chicken farm, however, the chicken farm had a website that had to be built and developed, and I went on Wix and I created that, and then I created strategies and all these types of things, and then I went on to take my Google UX design certificate. I can now say at my next job that I created a website for this chicken farm, and I was able to increase the interaction by X amount, increase customers by X amount, increase the exposure by X amount. So whatever role that you would like to take place in, try to utilize what you did in the past that really represented those skill sets and speak to those efficiently.
Excellent. And last question, what ethical considerations should be kept in mind while networking?
Great question. As far as ethical considerations goes, it's very important to be respectful. If the person has listed on their profile that they prefer certain pronouns, definitely leverage those. Ensure that you are addressing the person that you're speaking to appropriately. And then as far as general ethics goes, when I hear that term, I think, trying to avoid not seedy connections, but connections that you might have obtained via things that the person might have been prior unaware of. Take the time to establish that you are connecting with the person in good faith, as opposed to, I got your connection information from this person, they said that you can give me a job. Rather, get to know the person first and then get a greater understanding of where they're at in that moment in time. As far as other ethical considerations goes, take the time to ensure that you are addressing them with great professional etiquette. So spell check your messages, make sure everything looks good, and then ensure that you are addressing them as appropriate to their station at that work setting.
And the only other thing, just taking a pause, sometimes when you are in previous roles, there may be a situation where there's a non-compete where you can't work for or try to connect with a company that you were previously working for within a certain amount of time. And so maybe that's another ethical consideration that can be brought up within the networking space, you connecting with someone that you previously worked with. If there's some sort of clause in your previous employment, that could cause some ethical issues there. But with that being said, we have 1 minute left. I want to make sure that I am welcoming you to join us on the next slide for our Navigating Virtual Career Fair Insider Strategies for Success. If you could, it's going to be Thursday, May 23rd from 1 to 2 p.m. Join us for this. It's an insider recruitment tips on how to represent your best self. This event is preparation for our upcoming Tech Her Way virtual career fair that's happening on June 13th. While it is open to all individuals, we're focusing on women in tech for this event. Register now by going to the event section of the CareerCircle website. We want to thank you all so much for joining us today. We apologize if we weren't able to get to all of your questions. We want to thank you all so much for the level of engagement that you all provided. Awesome, awesome, awesome day today. Thank you, panelists, for your wonderful insight. Have an awesome rest of your day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. Connect with us there.